Axel Tuanzebe. Have I mentioned I picked him as my surprise package? I don't know if I have. Anyway, he's been outstanding so far, and from what I'm led to believe, and clearly I've only watched the highlights, so I didn't see the whole game. But he was also kind of rivaling Aro Muric for kind of standout player in this game. Would that be your assessment?
Yeah, very much so. And I think he got singled out by the Brighton manager as well for his, defence and his pace as well. And yeah, Axel, obviously, he's that great player that Kieran McKenna's got. He's versatile because he can play right back. Obviously, he's a centre half as well. And he has really stepped up. To think this time last year, I think he just signed for the club and obviously hadn't played much football. And now he's a regular starter in the Premier League for Ipswich Town, which is just an incredible story. Obviously, this team has got so many different players who've got great stories, and Axel is one of them. And he was really, he's playing up against Matoma, who the Japanese winger is fast, he's pacey, he's got that. That's the same thing. Don't worry, you know what I mean. He's got their skills. But yeah, he was able to really be really strong with those one-on-ones. So yeah, I'm really been impressed by Axel, and I think that was a good pick from you to put him as your surprise package because he is stepping up to the Premier League with ease.
In the words of Conor McGregor, I'm not surprised, mother. No, it's Nate Diaz. I'm not surprised, mother chuffers. I listened to, obviously, clearly, boys. I listened to the pods while I was on holiday in the gym, and AJ, you talked a little bit about why Axel is such a good fit in this system, which I think is probably worth discussing a bit more now because I thought it was really interesting. He's kind of the hybrid between the right back and the centre back, and obviously has the experience as well. Can you talk a little bit about Axel and why he works so well?
Yeah, I think it depends game on game with the system that Town have, because what we've seen against Man City and we saw against Fulham, we saw a little bit in the second half against Liverpool, is obviously the ability to go into a back five where Tuanzebe comes in more narrow. You then have the other centre back, usually Wolfenden, who come into the middle, and everything shifts around. We've seen it a lot with McKenna in League One, I believe, in terms of everything changing a little bit when they're out of possession. That's why when you see the right wingers a lot, when it's Wes Burns, for example, he's able to play that wing-back role. When it's Chiedozo Bene, he suits that a lot. Just being able to come back a little bit more. And if you've got a tough winger who you're up against, you can then combine and shut down the overloads down that flank, which is really, really important, making sure that you don't get outnumbered because Town's fullbacks like to push forward. Albeit that Axel probably isn't quite that. But this was different, I thought, from my perspective. I didn't really see Town go into a 5 that much in this game. It was a bit more like the first half against Liverpool, where they played into a 4-2-4, which meant that you essentially had banks of lines between the lines almost within the pitch, and playing through them was quite hard at times, and they just were able to move quite well as a unit. And it didn't really see then Wes dropping back and doing that much of the defensive work when he was on the pitch. He did at times, but Axel was usually left to kind of deal with the one-on-one battle with Matoma quite a lot, and he did that really, really well because he's a fantastic one-on-one defender. As Ross said, that was what Fabian Hürzeler picked out from him. He's really fast and he's really good 1v1, and Hürzeler said if it was any other fullback in the Premier League, he probably would have had quite a good game and a couple of goals. But I know Brighton fans are impressed with him, and it's just the ability to be able to hold your own in those 1v1 situations if you're playing a back four, and then being able to shift over to centre-back and have another player help you out when you need to go into a 5. Being able to switch between those two things is important, and that's why I think Axel's just a perfect fit with this hybrid role.
And that's obviously why I picked him as my surprise package.
Of course.
That's the last time I mention it, boys. I don't know if I have mentioned it.